One of the stories we've been telling you about this morning is to do with the abuse and the hassle and the nastiness that local councillors face. Now, local councillors are the sort of people who go to a parish or a district council meeting and they're looking at your bin collections or the provision in the local park, looking at maybe local events and checking the libraries in order, this kind of thing. Many are voluntary positions. And when I'm talking about abuse, it's horrible stuff like cars being petrol bombed, dead rats being put on people's property, being told you'll be killed or raped. This is the kind of harassment that apparently is happening to local councillors. I'm not talking about MPs at Westminster. This is at local level. We've been talking to people about their stories, and a bit of a warning because what they're saying is quite distressing.
I used to be a doorman. I was a bouncer. Some of the roughest places around. We've had people pull out knuckle dusters. I've been threatened to be shot. I've had people pull machetes out and all that lot. That's never personal because they just don't know you. The abuse you get being a councillor, yeah, I'd say it's worse. It's ongoing.
Evil talking as if their pals running the shop, chop them up and put them on the stove. What a cow, she needs her head examined. I'll be coming to visit you personally with a few of my hitty-batty friends. This is your only warning.
When my daughter yelled, "Mum, there's a dead rat," and then I knew straight away what had happened, and it was just horrific.
Well, it is, isn't it? And shocking. I had no idea. I honestly naively thought the biggest issue you'd have as a district councillor would be, weak tea and poor biscuits and perhaps a boring meeting to go to. That people are going through this. I'm surprised they just don't give up. One of the councillors who shared his experiences is Councillor Richard MacRae from Broxtowe Independent Group in Stapleford North, and he's on to tell us a bit more about it now. Hello, Richard. Good morning.
Good morning.
So it was you that said you had more trouble as a local councillor than as a bouncer. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I spent 13 years on the doors in various places. Really enjoyed it. One of the best things I ever did at the time. Now, I absolutely enjoy being a councillor. I gave up doing the doors to be a councillor. And yeah, the abuse you get, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Has it got worse? Is this something that's on the up?
I think it's got worse. It's on social media. But one of the things I always say to people, and I'm going to quote Taylor Swift on this one: if they don't like you for being yourself, be yourself even more. So when people tell me I can't do it, I'll do it twice, and I'll put a photo on the internet to show you I've done it because I love what I'm doing. I love helping people. And the small amount of people that are nasty, there was a local resident got sent to prison for 3 years because of the abuse I and others was receiving.
So are your fellow councillors telling you the same sort of thing then?
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, I've heard councillors say, they've been upset before going to meetings and they've not wanted to go. There's councillors that I work very closely with where it's ongoing. Myself personally, I've had notes stuck on my door. I get a lot of abuse online. I say a lot. It's not many people doing it. Thankfully, the majority of people appreciate what you do, and it doesn't happen all the time. But when it does, it's just, it's not nice at all. And it's putting good people off being councillors.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'll come to that in a minute. What kind of things are they saying to you?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to sit here swearing and that on here, but it's just the threats that you get. I've had notes stuck on my car, and I know full well who's done it, and I've took it to the police. In fact, it's a past councillor that's done it, and it's just jealousy, and I think it's sad. There's constant stuff posted on social media. Some of it's by a certain person that goes in a local pub. Again, it's jealousy, because everyone tells you. But it's still hurtful, and it's still... I'm quite strong on that, but it does put people off. We had a local councillor step down because of the way she was being spoken to by a fellow councillor on the same council.
That's what I wanted to come to. Yeah, is it? Do you think this is in danger of putting democracy at risk? Because if people are put off from doing it.
Definitely, because in Stapleford we've got some. I'm not having a go at the councillors because that defeats what we're talking about. But we've got people that stood in Stapleford, and we're very lucky we've got good councillors at the minute, but they don't live in Stapleford, and I think that's because people locally they didn't put their names forward, and it does. People see what goes online, they listen to you when you're talking to them, they know what's going on in the background, and I said the majority of people are really good, they're really kind, they're really supportive, and they give you good ideas because you're there to represent them. It's a tiny amount, but that tiny amount do cause so much trouble, and it stops local people standing. Then you've got other people from other areas telling you how to live in your own area, and I just think that's wrong.
And what do you think could improve matters?
Social media's got a lot to answer for. It really has, because when you report stuff to, I'll pick on Facebook, and they just say, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with it." Well, there clearly is. The police are doing all they can, with what the laws let them do. But I think the MPs need to stand up in Parliament, and we need to be more laws put into place to protect people, because we want good people to stand to be councillors from all walks of life.
Your addresses and phone numbers are online, aren't they, when you're a local councillor? I wonder if does that make you a bit vulnerable?
I think you can request it hasn't taken off. I don't mind, because everybody around here knows me. I've had the same phone number for about 20 years. I'm not changing that for anybody. Mine hasn't been on things like that. I've not had people coming around the house. I don't think people are brave enough to actually say it to your face. The more keyboard warriors sit in the bedrooms playing on the keyboards. They wouldn't say it to your face. They wouldn't dare do it. A lot of it is online abuse. It's trolling and that. And that's to say, a local resident got sent to prison for 3 years for doing it. So there is a punishment there.
Thank you, Richard. Richard MacRae, who is a councillor in Stapleford, just talking about some of the abuse that he's faced.